I am joined from all over the country, specifically the East Coast, the Seattle area, and the Midwest, by COH, CRK, and Slav of The Fedpost. And I discovered you guys, I think I told you this, my producer told me about you just about, God, it was only about 2 months ago, I think, maybe less. And I started listening and I got hooked. And I've been binging your show ever since. And I've really taken by it in many ways. And one of the things I find funny is that you guys are literally young enough to be my grandsons. I am more than twice your age. And I'm sitting there learning a lot about politics and history and philosophy from you, things that I've done professionally for as longer than you guys have been alive. I've been doing that stuff professionally since the early 1990s. So it's been a real pleasure and also a window into the minds of very, very smart people of that generation, which I find to be an interesting generation because my son belongs to it. He's a little bit younger than you guys. He's 20. Mm-hmm. But, I guess, how do you identify, or does generational identification make any sense to you?
Man, for me specifically, that's always been a little bit hard because I've actually, the year I was born and such, I kind of came up in the middle of millennial generation and like on the front end of the Zoomer generation. So I kind of like to say I'm like a millennial Zoomer cusp right in there because it doesn't really fit to identify with either for me. But I think identity has always been a tricky thing for me in general. So that's kind of par for the course.
You're also spiritually like an old man, so that's relevant.
Yeah. You're watching the Masters, drinking Arnie Palmers and all that.
True. Identity's always been tricky for you, COH? Why is that?
Just as far as like trying to specifically pin anything down. I feel like I don't like to be boxed in any way. I like to be able to be relatable. Like I like to be able to be on the same page as people. So like I'll sit down like, yes, I am a guy, like I'm a male. I'm a white dude, that kind of thing. Those kind of basic identities I can go along with. But like, as far as generalizing, like, oh, I'm this type of person, or I'm, this kind of thing. I don't really like to get bogged down like that because I feel like I've got a little bit more multitudes of different interest levels and, parts about my personality that aren't really just specifically one thing or another.
Yeah. This is postmodernism, guys. This is queer theory. I'm going to introduce you to this. COH is expressing freedom, right? Freedom from identification categories, and which is exactly what postmodernism and queer theory gave to us. But then they were perverted by these blue-haired people on college campuses who made it into the opposite. They said, no, how you were born is what matters the most in your life. Right. That's what matters the most. Your race, your sex, your gender. That's what matters the most. And it's fixed. It can't go away. This is a repudiation of the lessons of Father Foucault. I need you to know this and take this back to your people and tell them.
I think I'm probably going to be the most open to that line of thinking, probably between the three of us.
I know.
Maybe CRK, but
no, I'm with that. That's why I don't get like sometimes when the right is like, oh, these postmodernists, like they don't really sound postmodern to me. I mean, they sound very essentialist. So.
Exactly.
That was very strange. Yeah.
Essentialism is the word. Yeah. I'm an anti-essentialist. So Slav up there, though, you're the resident right winger, aren't you?
Yeah, the essentialist is long gone.
We huddled up and we told Slav, look, we need somebody to be the resident right winger. He just agreed to it.
I guess so. I kind of balance us out, I guess, in that way. Should I like talk about just kind of like my past with that, or just kind of like how I conceive of that?
I've been listening to you for a long time, as you know, and I've been wondering about you. So what is it? I'm trying to think of why I would think you're a right winger, but why don't you say that? Why don't you talk about it? Why do you identify with that?
I mean, why you probably think I'm a right winger is because I usually have the most right wing opinions on the show. I think, I mean, still trying to keep my powder dry a little bit here. I think, we all kind of started from like a Bernie bro kind of cut cloth.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of funny because it's like I encountered the concept of someone mentioning the post-Bernie left again recently for the first time in months.
Mhm.
And honestly, it's funny because I don't really see many people kind of exactly doing and having the same tone as we have. But I don't really see any echoes of what that once was at all outside of basically the way we talk